NFL record for the worst completion percentage.
This is a game you need to win.
This is a divisional matchup against a team you should beat. This is how you stack up wins.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of i75Live. We are in episode 15. Marks kind of the halfway point of the NFL season, a little bit further along in the college football season. So that is a little sad, but also exciting. We're getting to the fun part of the year.
So quick.
It
Whenever
really
it's finally here. This is like the one time of the year where I am happiest watching sports, and then it's gone in the snap of a finger.
It's gone. But yesterday, a very, very important day.
Huge day in America.
A lot of reasons.
Yep.
The first one, the college football official playoff ranking came out. I think
first ever
to the 12 teams. Everyone was so excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think how it's kind of structured, when I first saw some of these, like BYU at 4, I was like, hold on, what?
Me.
But they would be the Big 12 winner, so it makes sense. Do I think that Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Alabama, and Tennessee are probably better than them? Yes. But the way that is structured, they deserve that 4th spot because they would
the bye week.
Yeah. Yes. So, but other than that, I think the list as a whole, Oregon being one, they've proven that they deserve to be there. They deserve to be there. All the crap that they got at the beginning of the year saying, they don't know anything about Big Ten football.
Apparently they do.
They
do. They did their studying in the offseason.
And it has also helped that they have had unlimited money to spend on players with the whole, all that side of things.
That's crazy to think about.
So that has helped. Georgia, I ultimately think we kind of have them as, I think they will be the SEC champion when it's all said and done. But who knows, though? Like, the SEC right now is crazy when it comes to the talent and when it comes to, this team could beat this team, who beat that team, who beat that team.
It's really, the SEC has never been more competitive as a whole. Everybody's beaten everybody. There is no clear-cut number one team, and I think you could really say this for all of college football. Maybe Oregon, yes, deserves to be at the top right now, but in general, I really feel like this is the most competitive landscape we've seen.
Yeah.
And these playoffs are going to be so much fun to watch. I think there are some teams that I think could pull off some upsets. Like, I think off the top of my head, I really think Indiana is, they deserve to be their 1, but I think they could make a deep run.
See, I don't think Indiana's very good.
I don't know.
I think they've had a little bit of an easier schedule, but
that's true.
Like we've seen with college football, you just never know. Anything can happen. Now, I will say, who do you think, I know that showed kind of the first in, first out, who do you think out of this first list that they will not be in it when it comes down to it at the end of the year?
My gut wants to say
you had to pick
Notre
one or two
Dame.
Notre Dame?
I do think that Notre Dame has the possibility to drop another, bad game before the season ends. Not too sure about that, but other than that, really it seems like this will be more or less the landscape. Maybe Boise State, but I don't know who else would make it being the group of 5 champ.
Do you think if BYU doesn't win the Big 12, do you think they get in at an at-large or as a...
It depends on their loss.
Yeah.
If their loss is in the Big 12 championship and it's close, then yes, I think you could justify putting them in over like in Alabama because they have better wins and not as bad losses. That's really the only thing I could see changing. But teams that I really think could win in general, I think Oregon, Miami has a shot. I like Texas still. I don't like Georgia.
Really?
Georgia's defense, yes, I love it, but I have no faith in Carson Beck. I especially the way he's been playing right now, if he keeps this up in a bigger game, in any of the playoff games, I don't think Georgia's going to be able to keep up with these, just stout units, really.
I will say, I think the one thing that Georgia has going for them over, there's a lot of SEC teams in here, though, and even Penn State. What Georgia really does have, I think, is they have depth and talent on that roster from every position. So if they do,
check to see their depth at quarterback.
This 3-game stretch is going to be hard for some of these teams. Mm-hmm. It's going to take, a team that has very good depth and has not a large or big drop-off from their starters to their back. Now, obviously, yes, there's a reason you have your starters, reason they're a backup. But the drop-off to some of these teams, like a BYU's drop-off from their starters to their second strings, I guarantee you, is way more drastic than an Oregon, an Ohio State, a Georgia. So you never know, and that is, again, why I think college football has been awesome this year for a lot of people. I would love to see like Boise State winning their first. I think would be awesome. Cool. Yeah. I think Indiana. I know I kind of said I don't think they're as good as what this is showing. Obviously, the real college football rankers think otherwise.
Yeah.
But it's going to be an exciting. I think when this all comes around, regular season's over. Yes, it will be a little sad that the regular season's over, but this is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
And look forward to this in the future too.
Yes,
every year.
I agree. So to get into it, let's get into week 9. Or actually, I want to talk about, before we talk about week 9, we kind of said last week we were going to do our rights and wrongs halfway through the year. We've got a ton. We've got some we were pretty spot on. We've got some that we were way off on. I want to go over our rights. So I'll let you go first of some of your predictions you made, and you nailed them. There's one that you couldn't have done any better. So
there are some that I couldn't have been any more wrong on too. But starting off, yes, we made some predictions at the start of the year, whether it was players that we thought we were going to outperform their expectations or teams that we thought were going to underperform what people thought they were going to do. But my first one is Derrick Henry. And I was an advocate for him all offseason, leading into the season. I thought that his rushing touchdown prop was far too low, criminally low for what he's done in the past, and he cashed it last week. He already has 11 rushing touchdowns. He's got 13 total on the year. He's already over 1,000 rushing yards. He's averaging 6.3 yards per carry. He's on pace for 2,000. He has been maybe the best player in football right now. And what were we thinking at the start of the year, thinking that Derrick Henry wasn't going to do this?
And to go on top of that,
crazy.
I know it's kind of been a joke of what if you put Derrick Henry on the Ravens? We're seeing this is what happens. When you put a guy like that on a very run-dominant team. I know Lamar has been able to pass the ball very well this year as well. But this is...
I would say this is a big reason why. You have to stack the box every time he's in the game. Yeah. You cannot... And Lamar will pick you apart if he's given the opportunity to.
And if he doesn't, he's going to scramble around, make plays with his feet, get penalties down the field like we've seen.
They look like a much different team than that Week 1 game against the Chiefs, which makes me feel good about their chances in the postseason, but we still need to see it when we actually get to that point.
Yeah.
But a team that will not be sniffing the postseason, and the team that I said would crumble, not just be bad, crumble at the beginning of the year was the Dallas Cowboys.
And this makes, I think, everyone so happy.
Sweet prediction. It was, I honestly could not have been more right. I'll pat myself on the back for that one. And now Dak is out in multiple weeks with a hamstring injury.
He's on IR, so he's out for at least 4.
It's not getting any better for Dallas. I think, what are they, 3-5 right now?
Yeah. And on top of that, I know we're going to talk about some of the trades, but they're buying.
Not just buying, they're sending a 4th-round pick while you're getting your trades for Amari Cooper for a 6th or DeAndre Hopkins for a 5th. You are paying for Jonathan Mingo, a man who has little over 500 career receiving yards. This is like his 3rd year in the league, and he has 1 catch for 10 yards in I don't know how many weeks.
But Jerry Jones knows what he's doing.
4th-round pick.
Because he came out and said that he was very high on him in the draft a couple years ago. So... yeah, he knows what he's doing.
I'm lost for words. I have it bad as a Bears fan. I'm aware of that. I know that.
This is bad.
Man, Cowboys fans.
And on top
you've got to just be hoping that Jerry Jones somehow sees his way out of the league. Terrible.
And on top of that, I know some people will hear that and go, oh, no, they still have... Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are going to make up, I think, almost 47% of their cap next year.
And they still haven't paid Micah Parsons.
They still haven't paid Micah Parsons. They still haven't paid Lawrence. They still are probably going to need to pay a lot of these other guys on defense who are going to ask for money.
Yep.
And you're now giving away 4th-round draft picks for guys who aren't proven whatsoever. When draft picks, with paying all these guys the amount, they're going to be your biggest asset to building a team. You're going to need those rookie contracts, those rookie guys on 4 years deals making no money if you're going to be paying these guys this amount of money. And it just really shows to Jerry Jones not knowing what the hell he's doing.
He might be the worst owner in football.
He just consistently shows, like, time and time again of bad decisions, and it explains why they have not been a winning franchise.
Nope. And my last one, it's a little less right on this one, but I would still, because I said he had the potential to have a 2,000 scrimmage yard season, a 1,000 and 1,000. But he is still having an incredible year, both in real life and fantasy. Saquon Barkley has been...
You were so right on this one.
The most consistent part of the Eagles offense all year. If I were to redo the draft, I absolutely would have taken him top 4 in fantasy. I should have anyways. I thought about it, didn't. But yeah, he's, I think, 925 rushing yards. He's almost averaging 6 yards a carry, 20 catches. And 8 touchdowns. And so, yes, the most...
Hurdling people backwards,
doing everything on the field. And apparently he's not worth a few extra million to the Giants front office. Yeah. Make that make sense. But I don't know. Maybe they're happy losing however many games. What are they, like 2-7 right now?
Yeah, they're not doing very good.
It's not pretty.
No.
But this first one hurts me. So... Yeah, moving on to teams that I was wrong about.
You were pretty wrong.
I've got 3 teams that I was wrong about. So this was not a good year for me predicting teams-wise for the most part. But the Bears. The Bears they are a team that desperately needs new leadership. I fooled myself into thinking that Eberflus wasn't a buffoon going into the year.
The Bears.
And I do blame Hard Knocks for some of that, making him seem like he's not a complete idiot leading a football team. But... you know what? I digress. The O-line is also a glaring issue. Yeah. Our new offensive coordinator has proven to be anything but a good hire. And both issues put our GM at fault, which I have been very critical of our GM as of recent, and I think for good reason. He's just too emotional of a guy. We saw that in Hard Knocks. I praised him for it at first, but I'm looking back on it like, maybe I don't want a guy that's going to cry cutting a fringe roster bubble guy every time he has to do it, because that makes me feel like if he can't do that or barely make that decision, what makes me think he's going to fire a guy when he is 100% deserving and should have been fired last year? Instead, he keeps him on because he likes him as a guy or whatever. They have a good working relationship. Save it. It's just, yeah, it doesn't make me feel confident about next year that we're going to get the next hire right, because I don't think we're looking for the right traits in a person that we want to be a leader of men. It kind of looks like we want a daycare guy who's just going to take care of his players and have cool nicknames for everyone. It's bad. It's really bad. They still have a way to get out of this next year, but this season's over.
Well, if I'm the Bears, I'm doing everything in my absolute power to sign the Lions offensive coordinator
Ben Johnson
as my head coach.
And that's not even a guarantee, because how do we know that he is a good head coach? We know he's a great play caller, and yes, that's fine. But we need someone who can lead.
That's fair.
Need someone who can lead, because the last thing I want is to go out and get another guy who's supposed to be this highly touted person like Matt Nagy and then completely blunder it after 1 year. I will stay cautiously optimistic that we can turn this around, but it's
Bill Belichick?
Maybe. I wouldn't have a problem with Belichick, but I liked what I thought was I saw this on Twitter, is Ben Johnson as the head coach and then Saleh as our defensive coordinator, because for what it's worth, he called a great defense when he was in San Francisco, and he called a great defense when he was, making those play calls with the Jets. Yeah. And so and he's a great guy. He just may not be the best head coach, which is, again, like why I think that Ben Johnson is kind of an iffy pick. After our recent history, I'm very reluctant to accept a coach that has never been a head coach. It's just first-year head coaches have not worked out for us. First-time head coaches, I should say. But we'll see. I'll move on to a little bit, talked about this with Saleh, the Jets. I was completely wrong about the Jets.
I was too.
I thought they were... I'm on record saying that I thought they were going to lose 3 or 4 games all year. They proved me wrong in like week 5. So, yeah, that's fun. They may not make the playoffs either. And they need to string some wins together right now.
On paper, though, they were they still are They just have not been able to come together as a team.
I think those locker room issues really got overlooked by me. That's one thing that I did not take into account when I was thinking of how good they could be. I did not think about chemistry or any of the internal issues that are going on in that organization. Yes, it's still possible for them to turn it around, but regardless, they are not going to live up to the expectations that I set for them at the beginning of the year. So that's why they're on this list. And then the last one, completely wrong about too, I had them missing the playoffs, is the Bills. They are completely different from what I thought they were going to be. Josh Allen is playing MVP football. I was on record as well saying that this is when we find out what happens when Josh Allen gives the ball away and he doesn't have a defense to give it right back to him. Yeah. And he's not giving the ball away. Yeah. He's not. He's the reason they're winning games. Their defense is young and playing good. They've been putting pretty much the ball in anyone's hands on offense and getting production. And now they have Amari Cooper. So I think they win that division, and I think they'll be right there in the playoffs too, divisional round and maybe even AFC Championship.
Yeah,
we will see.
Yeah.
But now yours, you've got more players than I do.
I had a little bit more players, yes. So my first one that I think I was pretty right on was, I said at the beginning of the year, take these Falcons playmakers into this year. Mm-hmm. Don't let last year cloud. Don't let all these, they did not have a true quarterback. Kirk Cousins is a true quarterback. Look what he did with Jefferson. Look what he did with, Hawkinson and his tight ends over the years. Mm-hmm. And he has proven that. So Kirk Cousins, he's the eighth ranked quarterback right now in all of fantasy. Drake London, he is the 5th ranked wide receiver right now in all fantasy.
Hopefully he got hurt.
Yeah, he did get hurt.
Hopefully he keeps us up because, yes, you were right about Drake London.
And Bijan, 4th ranked running back right now in all of fantasy. And say what you want about Kyle Pitts, but he is the 7th ranked tight end right now in all of fantasy. Mm-hmm. To a position in fantasy that has kind of been hard to get some points from.
Yeah.
Where it's very, very top heavy. Mm-hmm. So the Falcons' offensive unit, Kirk Cousins, I said he was going to elevate everyone, and I think I was pretty spot on that.
Oh, yeah.
My next one, I said that Josh Allen was going to have to carry this team for them to be successful.
And he is.
Like you said, he is.
It's
he
exactly
has 2 interceptions. One of them shouldn't even count. It was not his fault.
Yeah.
It was against the Dolphins. Yep. Coleman slipped right through his hands. So really, I think he has 1 interception. He is the reason they are winning games. Mm-hmm. He is not making mistakes. He is taking care of the ball. He is scoring points. They are running the ball very well, and their defense is playing good enough. So I was right on Josh Allen if they were going to be successful this year. Cooper Kupp, this one I wanted to put in there. He has been hurt, but in the 3 games that he has played healthy, he has averaged 10 targets, and in his 3 healthy games that he has started, he has over 300 yards.
It's still possible for him to
I think
go over 1,000.
If he was not hurt and he needs to stay healthy the rest of the year, I think for me to justify that, hey, that was a good pick for betting, for whatever. Mm-hmm. He's got to stay healthy. But he has shown you when he is healthy, he averages 10 targets a game, and he has 303 healthy games, averaged 100 yards a game. That is very good in the NFL and what he did when he was, the Triple Crown and all that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think Cooper Kupp needs to stay healthy, though. I was also very, very right on Anthony Richardson.
You could not have been more right.
I could not have been more right. He now is not even the starter.
That's crazy.
We saw what he did last week.
Jeez.
He has been a complete and utter, I would say, bust so far. Yes, he is
Fantasy-wise, absolutely.
I dropped him. I had him on one team because I was able to pick him up in the 8th round or something like that, and he is no longer on my team because it was a bad. So way right on Anthony Richardson. Stayed way far away from. I hope you all did too. He's been very disappointing. My this one, I think I got a lot of crap for this one. My Rams take
doesn't look so crazy.
It
now
looks
with how
pretty
they're playing.
promising at winning their division. Probably not going to get the 1 seed. I said,
I think 1 seed's Detroit or Washington, but
I agree.
The Rams are your 3 seed.
But the Rams right now are in a very, very good position to win their division after beating Seattle, and they have a win over the 49ers.
Yep.
So my Ram take, it's halfway through the year, got a lot of crap for it. I think with them getting healthy, Puka's back, Cooper's back, their defensive rookies, like we've talked about as well, with some of their pass rushers.
Jared Verse might be the defensive rookie of the year right now.
Played very good. So Sean McVay, I think, is in the coaching coach of the year conversation with all the injuries and with everything he's dealt with. So I would say I think my Rams prediction is looking pretty nice right now.
Yeah.
My next one that I am you could have drafted this guy in the 9th, 8th, 10th round of fantasy drafts.
Yep.
Brian Thomas Jr.
Been playing incredible.
He is top 10 in yards and touchdowns. He has the best stats amongst all the rookie wide receivers this year. He is playing now. Yes, unfortunately, Jacksonville's they've played from behind. They've had to pass the ball a ton, but it doesn't matter. He is a very, very good football player. Had a lot of touchdowns coming out of college. I think that was a little overlooked.
Yeah,
but he is playing, I think, like I said, the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks. To where if you drafted him in the 8th, 7th round of your leagues, and he's in your flex,
pretty good.
You're probably
if you hit on
winning
your
games
early round
if you hit on your early rounds. Where I was wrong, Jahmyr Gibbs. I said staying far away from him. Injuries, hamstring injuries, running back. Montgomery's still going to be, which I would still say is Montgomery has taken a lot of touchdowns, a lot of touches.
Yeah, he could be even better.
But yes, I agree. But Jahmyr has played very well this year.
Oh, yeah.
He scored a lot of points. He has scored more touchdowns than I think people thought with the whole Montgomery thing. So I was wrong on Gibbs. I looking back out of some of the guys that were picked at where he was being picked that I maybe passed up on, probably should have picked Gibbs. I was wrong on him. Devon Achane, I think, was another one I was wrong on.
I think we were both wrong on that.
I think so too. I think now I would also say he benefited from Tua and Tua's injury because he kind of became the check down, to just a quarterback that doesn't really know the system, doesn't know what they're doing. Oh, he's right there in the flat or right there. So I think he has benefit, but even the couple games that we've seen Tua back,
he's averaging like 30 points a game.
He has played very good with Tua. So Achane, I was way wrong on him. I was staying far away from him. I shouldn't have. The one team that I would say there's two. I was really wrong on the Jets. I had them winning the division, being the 3rd seed in the playoffs. That's not happening.
Nope.
I don't even see them.
They'll be lucky to have a wild card.
Be lucky to have a wild card. The other one that I was really, really high on going into the year was the Bengals.
They've been really disappointing.
And I think the way
their season could end tomorrow.
I think so too. And with the way their division is playing, with the Steelers playing way better than everyone thought they were, the Ravens are going to be the Ravens, and they've shown that. The Bengals are falling behind. And it's so weird. They go out and lose really bad, and then they go out and score almost 50 points last week. I know they played the Raiders. It's still an NFL team, but they just have played so inconsistent. And then even the trade deadline, we mentioned that this was a team that needed some linebacker help, some safety help, some corner help.
Here's Khalil Herbert.
They get a running back, which, yes, is probably a good, he's been a good established player for the Bears.
Solid.
It didn't make sense. Joe Burrow, I think, has really had to put his team on his back, and unfortunately, it just has not really worked out in their favor. So I would say those are the two teams that I was pretty wrong on.
Yep. And so I guess let's move on to the week before. Let's recap some of these games because it was a pretty interesting week, I would say. The Texans and Jets game, I would say, went about as I expected. The Jets played even a little bit better than I thought in the second half. That first half sucked.
Well, and you said too, I mean, it was a short week for two teams who played two pretty hard games the week before that. So you called that going into it. Texans are riddled with injuries when it comes to that offense.
Their O-line's playing horrible. Yeah. Stroud is one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league right now, if not the most pressured. And we're seeing what happens when you don't have an O-line. And we know that Stroud's great, so we know it's not him. So I may be alluding to something there. Go ahead and pick that up as a Bears fan. But the Jets needed this win. This was a game that they could not afford to drop because their schedule does lighten up a little bit at the end of the year. So, yes, I think they still have a path to the playoffs, but they can't lose any more of these games, really. More slip-ups. They've got, how many losses do they have right now? 6? 6, yeah. So you can't lose really more than 2 games. Yeah. And maybe not even that. Because I don't know if 9-8 gets you into the playoffs anymore. Yeah. Especially, the AFC is performing a little bit better as of late. So another AFC game moving on, though.
This is a good game, Bills, too. I've got a bone to pick with this game, though.
Why is that?
The end of the whole thing with Tua at the end of the game where Waddle ran backwards. The betting world. I had him over yards. Oof. He had it. And for some stupid reason,
he just wanted to win the game.
A lateral counts towards the quarterback's total yards. I think that's stupid. I think it's so dumb.
I think it's
that the quarterback gets punished for
because he was the one that advanced the ball past the line of scrimmage. Is that what it is?
Well, so I have a screenshot
or is it because he
of it.
threw it forward and then like anything that happens after that counts in his
yards? I
yards?
guess, but how it was labeled in ESPN and like how it was statted, it was Tua passes the ball for -1 yards to Devon Achane. Period. Devon Achane then laterals the ball to Jalen Waddle, who gets -20 whatever yards, period. So you're telling me that the first guy that I passed it to went for -1 yards. To me, that's all that should go for Tua, period. And then it's the team's total yards that they lateraled it. That should not, but it was some stupid rule. Anyway, that's my bone to pick with that game. Lost a good bit of money on that, so that was unfortunate. But I thought this was a great game, though, for the Dolphins.
Bills had a chance, or the Dolphins had a chance.
They did.
Really, they had a chance to win it late, and they just...
Well, they marched down the field to score a game-tying touchdown, and unfortunately, Josh
Defense
Allen...
couldn't hold up.
Yeah.
Defense really couldn't hold up. And I saw Jalen Ramsey's playing bad this year. He's having a really bad year.
I know he had an interception, but he's not... I would say he's not playing to his full of...
Not his contract,
Jalen,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
He just got paid again this offseason. I think he may be the highest paid corner right now. And he's not backing that up whatsoever. And I think, yes, the Dolphins season's probably over unless some miracle happens and the Bills and Jets both collapse, allowing the Dolphins to, one, win the division or sneak into the wild card. But yeah, that game-winning field goal has to hit. It's got to hit for Dolphins fans. 61 yards, I'm pretty sure that's his career long, something like that.
And Tyler Bass was playing so bad the past couple weeks, and
comes in and nails
it, wins the game for him. So next one though, Patriots Titans.
Another AFC matchup.
This was a dumpster fire of a game. I will say though,
Drake May
had almost 90. I think he had like 97% of the offense's total yards. He had 95 rushing yards, 200 some odd passing yards.
Crazy.
So to me, that shows give the freaking guy some help.
Give him the keys to the franchise.
Give him some help and let him, give him some help and some weapons to throw the ball to.
Besides that interception in overtime, which really, I mean, it just looked like he was forcing it, trying to win the game all on that one play. Besides that, he played really good. He was moving down the field. The Titans do not have a bad defense.
No, they
Their
don't.
defensive line is crazy. Yeah. And their secondary, when they're all playing, is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And so Drake May, yes, looked the part. And against I wouldn't say a top 10 defense, but they're definitely top half of the league in defense.
I think a top 10 defensive line, and that's our struggle on offense now, is offensive line. Mm-hmm. And he was
go and get him a very, very large human being to play offensive line. Maybe a Travis Hunter. I know that's your wish. He's top of your wish list.
I think I would love a Travis Hunter, but at the same time, I'm going, now I know we have a ton of cap space, so we can go, hey, let's draft some weapons. Let's spend money on the O-line and with all these, and I think that's an option too. So, but I got out of it. Give the keys to Drake May. I think he's proven.
He's the guy.
I think he could very well be a Josh Allen type-esque thrower and runner of the football if you give him the tools to do so.
It's looking good.
Next one, Cowboys-Falcons.
Not looking good.
Not looking good. We kind of talked about it. Cowboys suck. Their season is over.
And we're not just saying that. Dak Prescott thinks that too because he got caught on camera saying,
we bleeping suck.
We suck. So, yeah, you're right, Dak. You guys do suck. Yeah, you guys Jerry Jones needs to be exiled from the league if you guys want to be relevant anytime soon because I am not so sure that whatever pick you guys have in the first round isn't going to be wasted. Yeah. Pretty much, or he's gonna trade it for a backup player. That's my prediction. And yes,
to go on top of that though, Falcons, they are putting together a heck of a season with a first-year quarterback that I think a lot of 50, maybe 60% of Atlanta did not want Kirk Cousins here.
I would have liked to see them make a move for an edge rusher in the trade deadline, but
is what it is. They obviously think they have enough in the building to do what they need to do. And only time will tell with that.
Yeah. And this next one, I've seen some clips come out about the Bears-Cardinals games that make me not very happy as a fan. Seeing this team has quit completely. I think
the whole DJ Moore thing, walking off the field that was bad.
But just in general, this team has quit. on him. I think they quit the second that Hail Mary blunder happened, and all of that week was spent not taking accountability from the coaches, and it bled over into this week. We looked horrible, like one of the worst teams in the league. We are 0-18 in away games on Sunday under Matt Eberflus. And I found this stat. Since 2018, this is back when Eberflus was also the defensive coordinator for the Colts, he has been responsible for 24 game-losing touchdowns allowed. That's more than anyone in the league. He's done it 9 times since he's been with us. I was talking about this a few episodes ago about how the Bears, 4 separate times last year and this year, had a game in the fourth quarter where they had higher than a 90% chance to win, and they lost all 4 of those games. I don't like to throw the word choke artist around, but Matt Eberflus is a choke artist. And so this team, playoffs are no longer a reality. For the Cardinals on the other side, playoffs are a reality, and they're playing really good.
They ran the ball very well. Kyler Murray really didn't have to do much this game.
Marvin Harrison didn't have to do anything either. Yeah. It was James Conner and Kyler Murray not making any mistakes. Yeah. And I think the Bears really should shift their focus towards a new head coach, high draft pick, and free agency, because we've still got a lot of cap space next year. And moving on to this next game, this one was awesome.
This was awesome.
This was another NFC West teams.
Yeah, this Rams-Seahawks game, it was...
If Geno doesn't throw 3 interceptions, the Seahawks win that game.
I agree, but I think Matthew Stafford is proving of how good of a quarterback he is.
Yep.
And it has helped, yes, that he is Cooper Kupp back. Puka got kicked out of the game on... I thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
I know Chris was... He was like, this is so dumb. Like, what are we doing? So he didn't even have Puka that whole game, but the
Rams are getting back to full strength.
They are, and like we said, their D-line is playing good with some of those rookies. That's what they needed, young talent, and their Matthew Stafford is making plays, and he is like that last drive in overtime to go down and score a touchdown was vintage. I mean, it was vintage veteran quarterback play. Yep, perfect passes, perfect play calling, and they got it done.
Yeah. So. It's a great matchup. I don't know who, we'll look at it later. These teams, I don't know who they play next week, but both, the whole NFC West really can't afford to lose games. Yeah. All 4 of them are in the running for that first spot. And it's crazy. NFC in general is very competitive this year. Very.
And Lions and Packers, this one was... I think now the weather was very crappy. Yeah. Going into it, everyone, Lions are a dome team. Like, we've said it. We've been on record saying it, that like 16 of their games are in domes.
They apparently don't care.
They took it very personal, and that was all you heard after the game of Dan Campbell and the players. Oh, I thought we were a dome team. I thought we were this. I thought we were that. It's raining. It's Lambeau Field. Yeah, well, they came out here and they took care of business. Yep. The score, I think, should have been worse than what it was.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They
took their foot off the gas.
And normally they don't. Mm-hmm. Normally they are literally, we're going to score 50 points and we do not care. But yeah, Lions, I think they're the best team in the league right now. Oh yeah, they can run. They can beat you in 1,000 different ways. Yep. This game just proved it, to where even if they go into a bad weather situation, they're going to run the ball all over you, and they're going to play hard-nosed defense and not going to let you pass like Jordan Love. That's what their offense, I think, is built on. And you saw that with the amount of drops and with the amount of slipping through hands and complaining about the weather. I don't know. And that to me shows the difference between a team like the Lions and a team like the Packers.
I think Jordan Love, this needs to be more of a narrative. Jordan Love is losing games for the Packers by playing while he's this hurt, because he's not even close to 100%. The pick 6 he had right before halftime was pointed out by the announcer. He normally could escape that, but his groin or whatever is hurting him. Yeah. Forced him to throw the ball. He couldn't even escape getting a sack. And so he's leading the league in interceptions, and he's missed 2.5 games. And he has 10 interceptions. That's crazy. You just paid him what, like $55 million a year to not do that, to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's what the money says. Yeah. It's, if you're a Packers fan, you got to be thinking like, all right, enough's enough. I don't know why the team's not sitting him. Malik Willis hasn't lost you a game It's not like you're out of the playoff picture. Yeah. You can afford to rest Love.
Well, now I don't know they've kind of gotten to the point to where it might be a little too late to do that, where they've kind of shot themselves in the foot.
You wasted it. You weren't losing games, and the second Jordan Love comes back, you drop 2. Yeah. And no, it's a bad decision, and I don't know who's at fault more, if it's Jordan Love forcing his way into the playing, or if it's the head coaches allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not a good look for the Packers, and it could end up being, the deciding point on who makes the playoffs and who doesn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're coming into week 17, and they're sitting on 2 losses that they shouldn't have, thinking, oh, man, now we have to win this game to be in. And maybe they drop it. And I'm pretty sure we play them. So we'll see.
Last one, though. I know this one, Buccaneers Chiefs.
Great game.
They should have gone for 2.
Yeah.
And you kind of heard Troy Aikman say it. Troy Aikman, yeah. You kind of heard him say that I was very shocked that they didn't go for 2.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that I'm giving.
Get out of Arrowhead
even if
with
you're
a
just
win.
so confident that you're going to win the coin toss, I'm not even giving that a chance to have Mahomes win it, because
left it to chance, really.
Everyone knows what's going to happen. It's like when Tom Brady used to go to overtime. It was crap. Game over. It's the same thing with Mahomes. There's no way I would have given the chance to giving him the ball, and as soon as they won the coin toss, everyone knew what was going to happen, and it happened. So I would have gone for 2, and I'm taking my chances either getting out of there with a win right there, or just, we gave it we gave it our best shot.
The Buccaneers, if they had either of their receivers, they might just win the game outright. And there were, I hate to say that, there were a few calls that would have given the Buccaneers a bigger lead. I think there was a possession in which a phantom face mask or something was called.
Yeah,
and they had to take a field goal instead of what could have been a touchdown drive. But we'll never know. I won't take any credit away from the Chiefs, because they continue to win these close games even after the fact. And there were plenty of opportunities for them to throw the game away. They didn't. They never do.
Yeah.
And so, yes, outside of the Lions, the Chiefs and the Ravens, 2 best teams in the league, I would obviously have to put the Chiefs above the Ravens just because they beat them in the head-to-head matchup.
Yeah.
It's not looking good, man, for all those fans that are hoping the Chiefs, 1, lose a game, or 2, don't three-peat, because it's like, realistically, they're only going to get healthier. They're without so many pieces right now. So many pieces. And they're all going to be healthy for the playoffs for the most part. You're getting Pacheco back. You're getting Hollywood back. You're getting some of those O-linemen back. You're getting,
Hopkins
Jalen Watson.
Too.
Hopkins is now on that team. Kelsey's playing like his old self. Everything's clicking for them.
Well, you're running out of I know we threw out the Texans being.
I'm running out of teams to say that can beat them.
Well, we threw out the Texans could beat them, but look at the Texans now. I think the Chiefs are beating the Texans with how the Texans are injured and how their offensive line is playing. So we are really running out of teams for them to just lose, and because as soon as they get to the playoffs, it's almost like, again, with Tom Brady and the Patriots, you're expecting them to go to the Super Bowl,
and they're gonna have home field again.
So, the undefeated season is kind of
coming to fruition.
It's coming to fruition more and more each week. So, let's get into some of the
reason. Yes, the other reason that we had a huge day in America yesterday is this right here.
The trade deadline. So there were some big ones. There were talks about the Lions. There were some talks about the Lions wanting to get, replace Hutchinson when he went down.
I think they did this.
Was Zamir
They didn't
Smith,
have to pay too much either.
They did not. They only gave up what they gave up.
It was a 5th and a 6th.
A 5th and a 6th.
For 2025 and 26.
For a team that they are all in. Mm-hmm. And I think I bet you he was between either the Falcons or the Lions.
This is his 3rd NFC North team, too.
Yeah.
He likes playing in the NFC North. It was a great move.
I agree.
He's got 5 sacks, 23 tackles on the year. And, yes, huge addition, because the Lions still have pieces on their D-line, just not, household names. I know their names, but it's not people that you would, like, you hear Aleem McNeil and you're like, I don't really know who that is.
Yeah.
Good player, DJ Reader as well. It's just, and I think, Frank something. But yes, the Lions needed this. This was the one thing they needed. Their secondary is playing great. Linebackers are playing good. They needed their pass rush. And their pass rush was still playing good without Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So I think really they are, I would say, the most complete team right now I can't see a single hole on their roster after this.
I would agree.
Great move.
I would agree. Next one, Bengals trade for Khalil Herbert for a 7th-round pick. We kind of said this.
I don't know why they...
It's cool.
I thought Dallas was going to be the one to trade for Herbert.
Yeah.
It made more sense than this.
Yeah, the Bengals need help on defense. I don't think they need help on offense.
No.
And
no.
It was like, okay, cool, let's move on.
Chase Brown just had a monster game, and your first move is to take touches away from him.
Yeah. So it doesn't make a whole ton of sense.
Steelers made two moves.
This Steelers trading for Mike Williams was something that we said they needed to do with receivers. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say Mike Williams plays very similar to Pickens.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense that this wasn't their first option. I think, like you said yesterday, that they needed a slot guy, and it sounds like they were trying to get that slot guy. They tried for Devontae Adams, they tried for Cooper Kupp, they tried for Christian Kirk, and might have even traded for Christian Kirk before he broke his collarbone a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that sucks, but Mike Williams, regardless, yes, they both play the X position, but you can have them on the field at the same time. Yeah. Regardless, it will take eyes off of Pickens.
Oh, I agree. It will 100% help.
I think, yes, this helps him. This also helps Freiermuth and their running backs. They're not going to be able to stack the box as much now that the Steelers don't have just one side of the field they can throw to every play.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, this helps a lot. And then the other move they made, Preston Smith, I think got overlooked a little bit. But that's really good depth for their D-line. Like, really good depth. It'll help Watt. It'll help Highsmith. And then Herbig is playing really good. The Steelers are, it looks like they're all in. They feel like they've got a team that can really go far. And this is like the last team, besides the Bills, that I think can beat the Chiefs. It is.
Yeah, I'd put it the Steelers, and now maybe they lose. I know they still have to play like the Chargers, and the Chargers are playing good, and it's a division game, so maybe the Chargers can sneak out a win against the Chiefs. But yes, I would say the Steelers. And who was the last? The Bills are the last two real teams that you could see beating them.
The Chargers are no slouches. You're right. You're right about that. And I think they have the number one scoring defense as well. So it's not impossible. And maybe the Chiefs just rest their guys week 18.
I think if they go for it? I think they go for it. Three-peat, undefeated season.
It's got to be like the best season in NFL history,
that would be the best ever, to go for a three-peat and then to go undefeated. I mean, how could you not? It's like, I know I've been referring to the Patriots a bunch, but it's like when they went undefeated, they went and they were like, no, like we want this. Like we want to go undefeated. We've worked this hard. Let's do it. And there's no way Mahomes is like, no. Because I also think if this happens, Kelsey's out of there. He's retired.
Retiring?
Oh yeah. If they win the three-peat and it's undefeated, say they lose one game. Say they three-peat, win the Super Bowl this year.
He's still gone. Yeah.
He's out of here with Taylor Swift, and he's going to go travel the country, three-peat. No one's ever done that, and that's what I truly think.
Starting his acting career.
That too. I saw he's in like a movie now, and he's like playing two characters in the same movie or something.
Like a TV show, but yes.
But another big one, Commanders.
This was the move of the deadline.
This was a huge one. Marshawn Lattimore. This to me shows that
Commanders are
all in this year. Lattimore
I'm with them. I think outside of the Lions, they're my favorite to make it now.
Yeah.
Really. And that AFC or NFC championship game, I think, is being played between the Lions and the Commanders, and that would feed families.
Yeah, that'd be so that'd be good an awesome game. The storylines in that game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Marshawn Lattimore, he's going to make this team. I mean, he speaks for himself with his play. Mm-hmm. He's kind of been a little like no one's really, because he's been on the Saints, so he's kind of been on a team that hasn't been very good.
He's always been a consistent player, though.
He has.
And this was crazy. I was talking to my fraternity brother, who is a huge Commanders fan, and he made this point to me that the picks that they used to trade for Lattimore, they technically traded Jahan Dotson from the Eagles to, trade for Marshawn Lattimore, and that's incredible value. I think I still would have liked to see the Commanders make a move for another receiver, but your defense they've been playing good as of recent, but they were somewhat a liability at the start of the year. Not anymore.
Yep.
They've got a lot of good leaders on that team now, in general, but now they have Lattimore, Wagner, they've got Dante Fowler on that team that have all been in the playoffs. They've played in very important games. Wagner has a Super Bowl ring. And so you've got the pedigree there to help you make it through the playoffs in those tough games. And I think Washington has quickly become a favorite.
Yeah. It's crazy how Washington, we literally went from, oh, yeah, they're going to be...
They could be fun to watch. They won't win many games. They're going to
score a lot of points. Their offense is going to be fun. And now we're talking about them going to the Super Bowl and them going all in and, into this whole trade deadline thing.
The Jaden Daniels effect.
Yeah, I would say. Cowboys, though, this is... We touched on it. Jonathan Mingo, 4th-round pick. Jerry Jones,
500 career receiving yards.
It doesn't make sense.
Jerry Jones continues to top himself.
Does not make sense.
At all.
Makes no sense. Last one, Ravens trade for Tre'Davious White for 7th-round pick. This, I think, was just for depth.
Yeah.
For a team that they know they're in a prime position to make a playoff push. Mm-hmm. Just in case we need some, injuries happen.
Yep.
This, I think, was a depth move, and I think it will just help them when it comes to these deep playoff games. If you go to Kansas City, if you make it to the Super Bowl, that's what I really think this one was about.
Yeah, and he hasn't been playing good this year, but for a 7th-round pick and a guy who's shown that he can be good in the past, I think it's a good move, and he could just, he could need a scheme change. And who knows, this could end up being a major move for them. Yeah. He could end up making a big game-changing play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which would, obviously, we'd look back on and be like, wow, yeah, that was worth a 7th-round pick for sure.
Yeah.
But moving on to, what is it, Week 10 now?
Week 10. Before we get into Week 10, I want to touch on one college game that I am going to be very interested in watching. The Ole Miss, Georgia. I think Ole Miss has a reputation for we're going to throw the ball for 500 yards and we're going to live with it. I think it's going to be...
Georgia has a reputation for saying good luck.
And so, but I think if Ole Miss comes out and they can win this game, you've got to put them in the conversation of playoffs.
How far would that drop Georgia down, do you think?
It could push them out.
They already have that loss to Alabama.
It could push them out. But I will say they beat Texas. So they're still...
That's what I'm saying. The SEC is a mess.
SEC is a mess. But I think that game could be very, very interesting to an offense that is... They do not give a crap. Mm-hmm. And they're going to come in and try to put up as many points as they can. Yep. And yes, that is going to be one of my favorite games to watch this weekend.
Georgia still has to play Tennessee, too.
Yeah, they do. They play Ole Miss and then they play Tennessee. So it is a gauntlet.
They had a gauntlet of a schedule this year.
But yes, like you said, Week 10 NFL preview... Thursday night game, I think, is going to be...
This might be one of the best ones we've had so far.
Best ones. Bengals, Ravens.
I've got the Ravens.
I also have the Ravens.
I mean, they're playing at home Thursday night. Derrick Henry is going to abuse the Bengals, in my opinion. I think this has blowout potential, really. It just... Not to say the Bengals can't put up at least, 14 to 21 points, but I think the Ravens put up like 40 again.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just coast through this one and kind of... take care of the ball and they have time of possession on their side and then they just win, like 21 to 14 or something like that. But regardless, I think the Ravens win this game. I don't think it's even a discussion. I know on our picks, I'm sure we will have at least 2 or 3 people picking the Bengals.
Yeah, we've got some Bengals fans who are on there. But I think the Bengals will score some points. Joe Burrow knows how to score points. Yep. He's actually in my bet of the week, so we'll touch on that at the end like we always do. But yeah, the Ravens are going to run the ball. They're going to be too good. Lamar is passing the ball really great right now.
Might see more of Deontay Johnson too.
Yeah, because he had 0 catches last week. They really didn't use him. Yeah. But yes, I got the Ravens this one. Next one, Giants-Panthers. This is the Germany game. We were also picking this one.
Sorry, Germany.
I'm going with the Giants for this one.
I am too.
I almost picked the Panthers because I know they won last week and they're the home team and the Giants also suck. But I think the Panthers suck more than the Giants, so I'm going to go with the Giants in this one.
I think this is a game that Malik Neighbors completely owns, and I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. The Giants have pieces on offense, and they've got a really good defense. A ton of guys that I like. It's just Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they just haven't been
able to put it together. What was that stat line last week? He was 4 for 4 at halftime, somehow had 0 passing yards and a touchdown.
0 passing yards.
How do you do that? That is a Daniel Jones stat. I don't know how you pull that off. It's almost impressive.
I wish I would have screenshotted it just to like...
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
I agree. No, Giants win this game. The Panthers are playing for a draft pick. I mean, the Giants should be too, but... Someone's got to win this game, unless it's a tie. And we both get a blemish on our record for it.
That'd be something if it was a tie. Game of the week, though.
Game of the week. These
Patriots
two teams right here.
and the Bears.
Thank you for beating us. I'm calling my shot. Thank you for beating us.
I want to lose. I want a better pick.
I want to lose.
I know you.
Because Eberflus is getting fired. He is not going to be allowed in Hallis Hall if we lose to y'all. Please do it. Do it. Please take us out to the back. Tell us to look at the flowers and pop us in the back of the head. Just do it. End it, please.
I want to lose this game just because I want a high pick.
You want Travis Hunter.
I want Travis Hunter. I really do. I think, yes. So this is going to be, I really have no clue. Your guys' defense, though, is very good against our offensive. Yeah, that is true.
We have quit. We are all the way out.
So I don't know. This is, I think, a coin flip. You and me should probably pick, but we both want our teams to lose. Whatever. This is terrible. We want our teams to lose. Let's go to the next one. 49ers, Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers in Tampa, they could keep this very competitive the same way they did with the Chiefs.
Be playing.
I saw that his window has been opened up. 49ers, though, I still think are very good on defense.
Yes.
Their offense looked good, looked okay. I think good enough to beat probably a really banged up Buccaneers team. But I don't know, because if they play like they did against the Chiefs, they really never know.
Really good. They did not look like a team that was missing pretty much everybody in their receiving room. They were able to manage. And they were without their top three receivers.
They were able to run the ball fairly decent too.
They've got two good running backs.
A Chiefs run defense that is very good.
So one of the best in the league all year.
I mean, I like the Buccaneers. If their whole offense was healthy at home, I probably would say the Buccaneers have a very, very good chance of winning this game.
Yeah. So. I mean, if Mike Evans played this, I would say that they have even a chance this week. But the next one, this game is going to be so good to watch. For a multitude of reasons, but I'm fascinated to see how Jaden Daniels plays against this. Because this is the best pass rush you might face all year. This is one of the best defenses you'll face all year. And so let's see it. Let's see. This is if he's able to do what he's been doing these past few weeks, I'm out of things to say about him. The scheme is obviously, it helps him, but he's still got to perform.
Yeah.
And he's been performing up until then against lesser defenses. If you can do it against this, not only will I have nothing else to say, but I've already talked about them making the NFC Championship. I would almost solidify them doing that if they can pull this off.
Well, not to mention too, it's a test for your defense as well, because the Steelers' offense.
I wonder if Lattimore will play.
Maybe
he's got some sort of hamstring injury now.
You never know.
He's been out for a while, so he's been nursing that.
Yeah.
But regardless, this game's going to be awesome.
The Steelers' offense
Mike Williams, too. I wonder if he plays.
And they can run the ball with two very good running backs. Yep. The Steelers have shown the past couple of weeks with Russell Wilson at the helm that they can play some good offense, some good complementary football when it comes to the pass game and the run game. So we will see.
Special teams are good, too.
Everything. I mean, I'm telling you,
one of the best carries in the league.
Mike Tomlin, what he's done, I'm running out of things to say about Mike Tomlin and the Steelers.
Mike Tomlin.
And I will say it, I hate the Steelers. Being a Patriots fan, I hate the Steelers. But it is hard not to give credit where credit is due, and they have done a very, very good job this year.
Oh, yeah.
In a really hard division, too. When it comes to the Ravens and the Bengals.
Outside of the NFC North, that division, and the NFC West, which has been picking up recently, too. Yeah. But speaking of NFC West, this next one, Jets at Cardinals, I think this is going to be a really good game.
The Jets really have to win this game.
Absolutely.
Like we kind of mentioned. But the Cardinals are also, I think if the Cardinals come in and have the same game plan
first place
to run
right
the
now
ball,
in that division.
And if they can run the ball the same way they did against the Bears, this could be a very long day for the Jets. Because the Jets have been not good at all against the run defense. And the Cardinals were able to control and command that whole game last week doing that. I could see this being kind of the same recipe this week.
It helps a ton that the Jets' offense is finally picking things up. You finally got production out of both Adams and Wilson in the same game. Breece Hall is doing Breece Hall things. Rodgers is playing somewhat like old Aaron Rodgers. If he can not perform how he did in that first half against the Cardinals, then I think the Jets win this game. I think they're just too talented, but their defense has been so bad. Not at all what we're used to after the past few years. Yeah. So this is a test for them and not a game they can lose. Yep. But this next one, kind of a bummer. I was so excited for this game, but the Lions are going to win this one. I think the Texans are too hurt, regardless of them playing at home.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. This one, if everyone was... Now, I will say, Nico Collins, I think there's a chance of him playing. So if he is back and playing, that could play it, but still, the injuries on that O-line. You never know, though. Losing last week, the way they did, they could... It's
could
the
light
NFL.
a fire under them.
It could, but the Lions,
They're on 10 days rest, too,
Yeah.
because they played on Thursday night. And the Lions...
The Lions are just so good.
Yeah, they are.
They could just beat you in so many ways.
They are.
And that defensive line and those linebackers are gonna just...
Yeah.
I've got the Lions. They're too
Absolutely.
good. And it's come to the point to where I don't care where they're playing. I don't care who they're playing. I'm probably gonna pick the Lions.
I would agree.
Last one though. Dolphins, Rams. Monday Night Football.
I got the Rams.
I'm going Dolphins.
Really?
I think the Dolphins played very good against the Bills, against a good team. They were able... I wouldn't say it was Tua's fault that they lost. Tua did all he could at the end of that game to march them down the field and score a game-tying touchdown.
Yeah.
Defense let them up. I like the Dolphins' offense. They have played very, very good with Tua coming back. I know Tua's one hit away from never playing again, but he has shown how good of a quarterback he is for that team. Him being back these 2 games after he was gone for, the portion of games he was gone for, and how bad that offense looked. I really like Tua. You never know, though. The Rams, like I've said, with their D-line, they could really get after Tua, make it hard for him.
All it takes is one hit. One hit, and then the Dolphins are back to their third string.
It does. and then, I know the Rams, the Rams also, their offense is really getting healthy. This could be a huge game for Puka because of him getting kicked out. Sean McVay loves to feed his guys.
I think this game's going to be like 34-31.
Yeah,
something like
so
that.
I could see it being high, but I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I trust the Dolphins.
Okay.
And it's in a dome, so Tua's going to be able to sling the ball over the place to Tyreek Hill and Waddle and all these fast guys running down the field. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Rams. I think their offenses are very similar, and they're good for kind of the same reasons. Obviously, the Dolphins can take the top off a little bit more with Tyreek, and it leads into my bet of the week. But I do think the Rams have more on defense to stop the Dolphins a few more times than they'll be able to stop the Rams. And so that's why I still think the game's going to be like 34-31, but I think the Rams walk it off with like a field goal or something. I think I trust Stafford completely in games like this.
Yeah.
And so, and with everyone healthy on offense, I think they may even be getting a starter on their offensive line back too. Huge. And they can't afford to lose. They simply can't. They've already dropped games that they shouldn't. They already dropped a divisional game against the Cardinals that they just got completely blown out of. And so these games that don't necessarily matter outside of a win or a loss because you're playing an AFC team, gotta win. And so I think they win.
Gotcha. Bets of the week. You kind of touched on it. Yours.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah. When is the last time you saw Tyreek Hill's line at 78.5?
That's low.
He can hit that in a quarter. And he has hit that in a quarter like low. 4 or 5 times.
I remember last year it was 95 to 100 no matter
every game.
No matter who he was playing every game.
Every game. And he hit it more times than not.
Yeah.
So I think he's going over this. He's going to need to in order for the Dolphins to be in it because Waddle hasn't been doing anything. Yeah. It's really just been A-Chain and Tyreek. That's it. That's it.
Jonnu Smith has played very good for them too.
He has
tight end.
He's been a bright
something
spot.
that they have not had over the past couple of years is a good tight end to roam and occupy the middle of the field.
They were a team that I thought were going to trade for Kyle Pitts at one point. I thought that would make a ton of sense, but I don't think the Falcons, after seeing how they can use Kyle Pitts, are anywhere near trading him. But Tyreek Hill, easy 78.5 yards.
Mine, I'm going to go with Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns.
It's a good bet to
He's
take.
going to have to pass for a lot of yards to stay in this game against a team who's going to put up points.
They're going to be in a negative game script the whole game.
I agree. And I would also say this Ravens-Bengals games it seems like they're always high scoring.
This
always
past
a ton
one
of points.
A movie.
Yeah. So I've got Joe Burrow over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He had 5 last week, which I believe was his career high. I think he continues. I don't think they win the game because I think the Ravens are way better. But Joe, he's going to have to sling the ball probably 40 times to have a chance at the end of this game.
2 different games this year with 5 passing touchdowns.
And unfortunately, that defense, and they just haven't been able to put it together.
Nope.
But yes, Joe Burrow, I think he has
another good year
really
of Joe Burrow, dude.
Really did. And he's healthy, too. It's not like he's dealing with a bunch of injuries, and it's just...
Last year, you can put on him, not this year.
Well, and this year, too, you've got... Jamar Chase is going to ask for money next year. You're probably going to have to trade away T. Higgins because you're not going to pay 2 receivers that much. And hopefully they can get some...
I think they made a mistake not trading T. Higgins.
I do too.
He can just walk now, right? I think he's a free agent unless they tag him again. Bad decision.
You needed to
at
least get some capital from him when
and
it
now
comes to draft
your
picks.
buyers. That's another thing we didn't talk about at the deadline. Your buyers now, you're a game away from being out of the playoffs pretty much because you're not catching the Steelers and the Ravens, especially if the Ravens beat you this week. Why are you not selling?
Yeah.
Why? You should be looking forward to the draft next year.
Yeah, to load up because you're going to have to spend some money on some of these guys who've already said that.
Now you got your rookie receivers going to casinos after the game, after getting benched, so it's not a good look in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Well, that will do it for this episode. If you have any games, any players, any predictions that you had that you were right, you were wrong, or we forgot about, let us know. Keep the comments coming too. We love the comments. We got a ton of good stuff last week. More agreeing with us last week than previous week. So that's
you guys are finally starting to come around. Maybe
nice.
we actually do know a little bit of ball.
Maybe we do know a little bit of something. Or even like I mentioned, the whole Rams thing at the beginning of the year. Maybe I know a little something about football. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. That is episode 15, and we will see you guys next week.
Yes, sir. It's been real, guys.